From the Cold Formed Steel Buildings Association, this is Cold Formed Buildings Made Easy with your hosts, John Cosper and Lauren Toole.
Hello and welcome to Cold Formed Buildings Made Easy. I'm John Cosper and with me is my co-host, Lauren Toole. Lauren, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So you and I had an interesting experience recently. We both got to see a cold form building go up, and we also got to interact with a cold form crew from Florida. For those who don't know, we live here in Southern Indiana, and about halfway between the two of us, there was a cold form building erected for a nonprofit called Jacob's Well Project up in the Greenville, Indiana area. And Keegan Greene and his crew from Florida came up, erected the building, which ACT Building Systems will be using as our construction videos. Lauren, was this your first time getting to meet Keegan and his crew?
It was the first time I got to meet the crew. I met Keegan this past year on a different thing.
What were your impressions just meeting those guys and getting to see them in person?
It was great. I liked how they each had different backgrounds in construction, and I just thought it was crazy how they all came together and how they travel around the United States building buildings.
Yeah, we heard a lot about how it was supposed to be a 14-hour drive and ended up being a 16-hour drive, which was a lot of them kind of ribbing Keegan about that. And typically they don't travel quite so far. They're traveling a little bit further during the week and then they get to go home on the weekends. But they were here for 14 straight days, worked 11 hours most days. Lauren, you got to see a little bit of the progress. You got to see it before they were clearing ground and the slab and everything, and then a couple of times while it was in progress.
It was the first time I got to see the full process, which I thought was really neat, how they prepped the ground, how they poured the concrete, and how they got everything ready for that, and how they just jumped right on it and started building. I thought it was crazy.
It was really crazy. I mean, those portals went up the first day, and there were certain days where you'd see a lot happen, very very quickly, and then other days when there was fine tuning going on, whether they were framing out windows and doors or laying out the base angles around the perimeter of the building, and then the sheeting. Literally, I mean, it was a day and a half, and they were done, and they were back on the road for another 16-hour drive back home, and grateful to get there. But while they were in town, I had the opportunity to catch up with some of the crew members, and that's who you're going to be hearing from today. Is actually a cold form construction crew. This was a really interesting group. There was kind of a diverse mix, as Laura mentioned. There were some veterans who've been around for a long time. There were a couple guys, they were literally on their second or third projects. They'd only been around for a couple of weeks or a couple of months at the most. And it was interesting watching them train those guys and watching them work, kind of seeing the division of labor and how a crew of 6 was able to put together. It was with a 30 by 60 building with a mezzanine and 2 bays, had an enclosed lean-to on the back, had an open lean-to on the front side with a wraparound porch on the front. But today we want to let you hear from them. These are our interviews with the construction crew from Greene Construction. And at the end, we're also going to let you hear from Sarah Flannery, who is the executive director of Jacob's Well. We chose to build a building for a nonprofit. This was donated by ACT Building Systems and by Metal Sales Manufacturing. We're real happy to partner with them. Real happy to share a little bit of information about who they are. So hope you guys enjoy these interviews.
I'm talking with Ken from Florida Quick Steel and Greene Construction. How long have you been building with cold formed?
I've been 10 years.
10 years.
10 years off and on, but mostly 10 years.
Okay. Yep. What kind of buildings did you do before?
Wood frame.
Okay.
Yep. I was a carpenter for 35 years and, 25 years, and then been doing, working for Keegan, Greene Construction and Florida Quick Steel for 10 years now. So one of the foremen's on the job and with another guy. And so we travel all over the place. And we go wherever the buildings go.
Gotcha. What was your first impression of cold form when you first learned how to do it?
Absolutely loved it. We've done before that. We were doing a couple of the red irons, and we went to cold form, and it was big game changer. And what we've seen through the years of the engineering of it, and the bolt system and everything like that has really been a game changer for us. Quicker, faster, easier.
I noticed you got a couple guys on the crew that seem to be a little less experienced and kind of learning on the job.
We have a few guys here right now that are actually we got a few guys here that have been a month. We got a couple guys here that have been 5 years. And then it's been an experience. It's a learning process throughout the whole, or from ground up. There's not just like any 10 questions or 10 things to do. It's hundreds of things to do on these buildings. The main thing on these buildings that we're trying to teach these younger guys and the newer guys is how do you work with these prints? The prints are your Bible basically. And once you get the the prints under control, and you see what you're looking at, and you put it to the wall itself, and you put it to the building, it's a game changer for all these guys.
Yeah.
So
It's surprising you say they've only been here a month, because I could tell that they were new, but I didn't expect them to be that new, and still being able to catch up quite a bit.
Yep. We have two guys, like I said. One, I think the youngest guy, he's mid age, but he's been here about for a month now, and he's doing fantastic. All these guys are learning quick. You can learn fast on these buildings. You really can. It's not you build to speed up through the years is what it comes down to. But the biggest thing right now for them is just a learning experience.
Yeah. I've noticed too, you guys always have the prints in hand. You're always looking at them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Those prints, like I said, those prints are everything that we do. Comes off of those prints. From the BOM to the construction pack, everything is all labeled out throughout the whole process. So, and we just go from there.
Gotcha. Any advice you would have for somebody who's looking at doing a cold form building for the first time?
Pay attention. Pay attention to everything you're doing. There's a lot of detail in it, and there's a lot of things that change along the way. Sometimes those prints are, what they say, and things get a little complicated, confusing in there. There's a few pages you have to go back and forth for to find the answer you're looking for. And and then there's always a call to experienced guys saying, hey, what do I do here?
I'm with Jet from Greene Construction, Florida Quick Steel, and we've been here on this building for 10 days now in southern Indiana. How long have you been building with cold formed?
Cold form, I would say about 3.5 years.
Okay.
Not too long. I've really worked red iron before this, and
Okay.
I've been in construction since I was 18 years old. So,
What would you say would be the biggest differences between going from red iron to cold formed when you learn?
red iron's a lot more torching, a lot more. I would say this is more easier. Like definitely reading the plans for like a red iron building would be more extreme. This is definitely a lot more simplified prints.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's easier work. It's easier to use the screws too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely.
What's the learning curve for getting into cold formed, and how long did it take you to figure things out?
Since I had worked in construction before, I think I had a good idea how it was done. So I just stuck with somebody that knew a little bit better and kind of trained me. So I'd say it probably took me a year to feel like I was fully comfortable. And I feel like I know everything, because there was a couple things that I was like, yo, I don't know what I'm doing. And like get down to a panel or a corner, you don't know how to cut it. I mean, sometimes things happen.
Yeah. And I said there's been a few instances on this building where there's been some improvisation and things like that.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
how do you guys
You got to
determine?
customize it and work around it. It happens all the time. Every building we do.
Seems like seems like this is not new. Yeah,
not.
there's got to be a new solution. So, what would be your advice to somebody who's looking at doing cold form for the first time?
I would say that it's definitely easier. It's probably one of the cleanest things. I like the way it come out looking, really. I like the finished product. I haven't really done too much wood or anything, so I'm metal pro for everything. I love metal.
Yeah. So you talk about the cleaning. Once this thing is all finished up and we've got that galvanized
Yep.
look on the inside as well as the insulation, it's just a nice, clean,
Yeah.
shiny, and open too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're here in Indiana, and I'm with Sean. Sean with the W.
Sean with a U.
John with a U. Yeah, that's right. The correct spelling.
Correct spelling.
The correct spelling. Sean with a U from Greene Construction and Florida Quick Steel. How long have you been part of this crew and doing cold form?
I've been with Keegan and Florida Quick Steel, Greene Construction for, I would say, over 10 years. Not exactly sure how long. But with cold form, probably since he started it, we used to do house remodels and stuff like that before, and then got into this. So been pretty much with him since the first building
Gotcha.
that he had.
Gotcha. What kind of construction did you guys do before, or what was it typically?
Just interior remodeling, metal roofing, some shingle roofing, not a lot. I didn't do a lot. They did, but yeah, it's just basically house remodels and metal roofing.
Yeah. What was the first impression when you guys did cold form for the first time?
Definitely did not know what to expect when we got into it, when we did it, but obviously there's a lot of questions. So first one, you're kind of trying to figure it all out, and I would say wing it, but that's probably not the right word. But yeah, I mean, it takes time to get it figured out, and you gotta basically pay attention to everything that's in the paperwork in order to get it figured out.
Yeah, that was one thing I noted with the crew is that you guys always had plans in hand, and that's something that I know gets stressed a lot is just to pay attention to those plans, even if you've done these before.
Yeah, the plans are key. You know, even building this building here these last 2 weeks and going on to the next one, it could be the same building, and it's there's something different. And if you don't pay attention to those, then you won't get it right. And they're small things from the amount of screws that are put into stuff to the placement of the windows and the sills, or the Z-bars on the wall with you where you have your gable wall and your lean-to wall, like on this building. The Z-bars, the height difference from that wall to that wall and the Z's are different. And you can just catch yourself putting them in the same spot and then go back and fix them.
Right.
So there's the details are very important. Construction pack, the BOM, even though you don't, you know, all your parts listing, you know, you need to know the material that you have on site and the material that you're working with. So you're not just picking it up and putting it somewhere and running out when you get toward the end because your laps are too long, or situations like that.
Yeah. I was talking with Ken about some of the newer guys on the crew have only been here about a month. How long does it take you guys typically to get somebody to really be confident with cold formed?
It takes a while. I mean, I mean, a couple of our guys they're doing really well, but it's still just being able to get up there and do something and see the effect of what the next step is. And that is where it really gets to be the tricky part. And it takes time to learn that. Definitely longer than a month. I'd say definitely longer than a year, just to be familiar and know that if you make one step here, it's not going to affect what you're going to do a little bit down the road.
Right. There's a lot of looking ahead and trying to sort things out, and then occasionally the need to improvise and to find a solution with what you have on hand.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, and you always have to improvise. It's never clean cut. So you're always going to run into a difficult situation, but you just got to step back, look at it, and come up with a solution for it, and make sure that you have the material to do it without having to burn up material you don't have.
Learning your basics and fundamentals, and then you can improvise on top of that.
Yes, sir.
So, any advice you have for somebody who's doing cold form for the first time?
Read over everything. Make sure you read every little bit and piece, because if you skip one thing, you may be taking something down to go back and put something back in. So you really just want to pay attention to everything that's in there and make sure that you read thoroughly through it.
So I'm here at Jacob's Well with Sarah Flannery, and Sarah, you have a building.
Yes, we do.
It's very exciting. Tell us about Jacob's Well.
So Jacob's Well is a transitional living facility for single moms and their kids who have been through crisis situations. So everything, they all come to us homeless, but there's a lot of substance abuse, domestic violence, human trafficking. There's a lot of various different backgrounds, but single moms with their kids who just really need to hit the reset button on their life. So they come and live with us for up to 2 years while they do just that. Financial classes, parenting, trauma counseling, life skills, employment opportunities, all of that while they live here in a safe environment.
And you guys use this as an event center as well for people who need a place to rent out.
That was the original purpose of the building 30 years ago, whenever they built it, was as an event center, and then they built the bed and breakfast around it. And so we have renovated those bed and breakfast rooms into the places where the families live. And so we do still use the event space to go, but all the funding goes directly back into the organization.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So how did this building come about, and what was your reaction when you found out that somebody wanted to give you a building?
It was really kind of a dream come true for us whenever it comes to this building, because we had always wanted to be able to have a space that we could invite people from the community into that wasn't as big. The event center is kind of large for a group of maybe 20, 30, 40 people. And we were hoping to be able to do community workshops, support groups, other things in a different space than what was attached to the living quarters where the ladies and their children lived. And so this was an amazing opportunity for us because it gives us just that. Yeah.
What are the plans for the building when?
So our plan right now is to use this space for, like I said, community groups, community workshops, opportunities for people to learn, how do you buy a house? What is, typical car maintenance look like? What about building your credit, or domestic violence support groups, AA groups, other things for the community that maybe isn't really within driving distance of this particular space. So we want to be able to add that here in an area where people might be able to come more easily.
What have we been hearing from? I know the board was here last night,
Yeah.
and the staff members coming and going, residents and stuff. What have people been saying as they watch the building go up?
Well, last year, whenever we started talking about this, I think that a lot of people thought, well, that all sounds really great if it really happens. And now, whenever they see it, wow, it really did happen. Someone really did gift us this gorgeous building that we're going to be able to use for so many different reasons. And also, it will be a wonderful rental space in an area that really doesn't have a lot. And all of that funding will go directly back in so that we can support more families.
Yeah, I've noticed one little tiny resident in particular seems to always linger and like to watch the equipment and the guys working. And
yes, and the kids like to watch from the inside too. All the beeping and the diggers and all of the equipment out here has been a really cool process for them to watch. It's not a typical build, so a lot of people have never seen a building like this go up. So it's been really cool, and it seems really, just solid. Solid construction.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
No,
So
it is not.
it will
It
be
is
here
not,
long
which
after
is
we're
great
out.
because we get a lot of hail and high winds in this part of the country, and so it looks great.
People want to find out more about Jacobs Well, where can they go?
So www.jacobswellproject.com has all the information about our program and how to contact us if anyone has additional questions, ways that you can get involved. And we always have a lunch and learn that if you're in the area, it's always the first Wednesday of the month. And we invite people in to have some food and get some information about Jacobs Well, and then also take a tour of the building and see how they can get involved.
So, John, after spending the whole day with the crew watching and recording, what is your thoughts on how the process was going and just everything?
Well, I'll tell you one thing off the top. They don't like having a drone buzzing around their head filming everything. But they were great to work with in spite of that circumstance. The guys worked through the weekends since they were, again, 16 hours away from home. When we ran into issues, they would get together, they would put their heads together, they would find a solution. There were a couple of times where we needed to go and order some additional material, and Metal Sales was great to work with. They had stuff on the job site for us most of the times next day if we needed it. So, we were lucky we were right in their backyard. They were able to help us out with that. So I've been out there a couple of times since we finished up, and they're working on the electricity. They're working on getting the doors and windows in. That should be here in the next month or two. And it'll be really interesting to see what they're able to do with this building and what they're able to use it for.
I also heard that there is some news on the Cold Form Steel Building Associations as well. You want to hit on that really quick?
Yeah, so the Cold Form Steel Building Association is officially registered as a nonprofit. We have recently elected a slate of officers, which includes John Wilson, who was one of our guests recently, and Shannon Linker. We've got some exciting plans, creating some training materials for cold formed enthusiasts. We want to bring cold form dealers and erectors, engineers, and everyone together who's part of this industry. We're really excited about it. We think it's a great opportunity to advance cold formed even further in the United States and actually across the world even. We want to ultimately see a cold formed association meeting happen, yearly or every other year. One of the things we really wanted to do with this organization is start getting some of the codes changed, to start getting more architects to spec cold formed. The more we can do that, the more we can make people aware cold formed is out there. I think the more opportunity we're going to have to see cold formed, used in place of post frame, definitely used in place of tube frame, and even some smaller red iron buildings. John Wilson likes to say, it's going to become its own industry. It's going to become its own thing. He's really passionate, really excited about advancing cold form through the organization. And if people are following on our Facebook channel, they're following along on our website, they'll be able to see more information happening as we announce it.
Exciting. I'm excited to see how it's going to change in the next year. So thank you for listening to us. This is Cold Form Building Made Easy, and I'm Lauren Toole, and this is my co-host, John Cosper.